Scooby Doo and the entire gang have been a core childhood memory for me because I can still fondly remember the hours spent in front of the TV watching the fun adventure cartoon series. Over the years, we've had new versions of the show, animated movies, and even comic books, but I still wasn't ready for what Scooby Apocalypse threw at me. DC Comics has revived this Hanna Barbera classic in a new light. And this comic series by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMattels crafts a story in a post-apocalyptic setup. After an experiment goes wrong, the familiar characters find themselves figuring out a solution in a world overrun by mutated creatures infected by a nanite virus. I can't remember the last time I witnessed such a dark version of Scooby Doo, and this one is definitely worth exploring. In this video, I'll bring you a brief glimpse of this unique comic series so that you can get an idea about the storyline and the apocalyptic premise. However, covering the entire comic series across 36 issues will be a lot of work on my part, and I'm only willing to do that if you guys want it. So write Scooby in the comments below, and I'll have a new video on the entire series within a week.
Let's find out what's in the chest. Open it up!
The comic series opens with a timeline that's 1 year before the main events of the narrative. And here, you can see Velma as she looks down upon the hopeless romantics in Paris. It looks like she has a piece of crucial technology in her hands, and she claims that she will do something that will save everyone and the planet from destruction. I was hoping to get more context here, but the story then introduces Fred and Daphne, and they are a couple of journalists with Fred behind the camera. They're both here to cover some of the potential visionaries as they discuss ways to stop the planet from self-destructing. They are covering the Blazing Man Festival, because unexpected things happen there. But Fred's not too happy to be here. He hates the crowded place, and he also doesn't see much potential in this piece of news like Daphne does, who's supposed to meet a mysterious informant. Their conversation also reveals that Daphne and her once popular show, Daphne Blake's Mysterious Mysteries, have fallen from grace, and for about 2 years now, they have been moved from primetime TV to a terrible slot on a knitting channel. But Daphne still has the same old hope and enthusiasm, and Fred has a lot of faith in her, which means that they stick together irrespective of the hardships. As for the informant that they're supposed to meet here, Daphne doesn't know much except for the fact that she is some whistleblower who has information that is crucial for the survival of the planet, and Fred is not too optimistic about this meeting. While Daphne is no longer a popular face following her downfall, she is still recognized by someone in the crowd. And guess who it is? Yes, we finally have Shaggy and Scooby on the scene, and Shaggy recognizes her from a show that he still watches when he visits his Nana. Meanwhile, Scooby's not paying much attention to whatever Shaggy is saying, and he also seems to have quite an attitude here. Shaggy has taken Scooby out of the complex for a walk, and he tells Scooby that they must keep a low profile because he risks getting in trouble for this. But what's the big deal here about taking a walk with his dog? Well, I did tell you that this is a version of Scooby that you have not seen before. Shaggy has access to some futuristic high-tech goggles and puts that on Scooby after activating the cyberwares. Apparently, the receiver is in his contact lenses. Now that they are connected, the iconic duo decides on getting some pizza. Suddenly, the camera shows a surveillance center, and I realize that Scooby and Shaggy are being watched. A man named Mr. Barry complains to Velma about the hipster doofus who has taken one of the subjects outside again. It turns out he's talking about Shaggy, whose name is Rogers, and Scooby is actually a test subject with a number, but he's fondly called Scooby Doo. Velma is not concerned about Barry's concerns and simply asks him to let Shaggy go with a warning because he's a gentle and good-hearted fellow just like the dog. She then states that she will retreat to her chambers, but she's up to something else, as it's shown that she is about to betray the complex, which is a giant research facility. According to her, she must do this in order to save the world from a disaster, and the risks are high because if she's caught, the consequences are serious. It soon turns out that Daphne and Fred are about to meet Velma, and they're waiting patiently at the scheduled site. Daphne tells Fred that she believes that Velma has some really important information, and she is a whistleblower who could well be the ticket for Velma to stardom once again. Suddenly, Velma emerges from an underground tunnel, and it's a comical moment because Fred's terrified and throws his camera at her. Meanwhile, Scooby and Shaggy are not really enjoying the healthy meal that they've been served. Something alerts Scooby and he sets off immediately, and it's revealed that Velma being down is what got Scooby's attention. When Shaggy and Scooby reach them, I finally see the team together, and it brings back so many memories that I almost forget what the situation here is like. The initial confusion is resolved, but Shaggy is still puzzled why Dr. Dinkley, or Velma, is outside the facility. Velma realizes that she's in trouble because if she informs her superiors at work, then her cover is blown. But Shaggy says she can trust her as long as she tells him why she's out there meeting Daphne and Fred. She leads them all into the complex, which was apparently created as a doorway to hope before it turned into the doorway to hell. I can already smell something very fishy going on down here, and Velma slowly starts telling them all about the facility. It looks like a generic low-level military research facility, where they work on enhancing dogs like Scooby, but it's really a cover for the secret Project Elysium. 4 scientists started Project Elysium as a survival plan for the human race. She's about to expose the truth here, but I can't help but notice that Velma is reluctant to speak about her role in all this. The reality behind Project Elysium is research work on nanites dispersed across the world like a contagion. As you know, nanites are basically microscopic machines, and these machines transform their human hosts. The original intention of the scientists was to infect humanity with a technovirus that would restructure the species into something more durable. Shaggy is in utter disbelief because even though he's been working as a dog trainer at the facility, he knows nothing about all this. Also, here comes the major revelation that Scooby is a smart dog prototype, which explains his ability to communicate and above-average intelligence. But Velma points out that Scooby lacked the killer instinct and intelligence that the government required. Just as Shaggy decides that he's had enough and wants to report to security, he sees a part of the facility that he has never seen before. Velma reveals that this is the secret safe zone, and she apparently chose this time of the day because most of the staff would be away and the reporters can look around with Fred snapping pictures for evidence. The original plan was to weed out the basic human instincts like greed, anger, or the urge for violence using the nanites, but it went way beyond that. By now, Daphne, who's been looking around the secret zone, has found a document that suggests Velma is one of the scientists working on the technovirus, and it will spread quickly to all corners of the world. Unfortunately, the project did not work out as designed, and the core team was breeding in a kind of passivity, where they would pacify the world population. Unfortunately, Velma learned this too late, and she still tries to convince everyone about the noble intention of ending world hunger and violence. But now, she wants this to be stopped before the nanite virus becomes active. As for now, they're still dormant, and the scientists are all hiding out in micro-sealed chambers so that they can emerge when the nanites have already done their job and take over the planet. But the situation is now precarious because the world as we know it might end at any given moment when the technovirus that's already been spread is activated. But what is the way to stop it? Before I can even begin to imagine potential ways to stop the inevitable, Velma starts panicking when she realizes that the nanites have already been activated. She rushes off to run a global diagnostic on the nanites, and by now, the alarms are blazing across the facility. But it's already too late. And now, the power shuts down in the facility, plunging them all into absolute darkness. Meanwhile, we go into a quick flashback of the time when Shaggy met Scooby for the first time 3 years ago. He was hired as a dog trainer for his empathetic nature and connection with animals, and it started off with him saving Scooby from the other dogs on the very first day. I love that even in this post-apocalyptic comic series, Shaggy and Scooby are the best of friends, and you can already tell that the entire gang will be working together on a mission that will test them at every step. Back in the present, the facility is lit up again courtesy of the emergency generators, and things quickly end up in absolute chaos as they encounter their first nanite-transformed monster. It's of course the first of many, and the adventures begin as the group find themselves cornered in a facility that's now overrun by these violent transformed creatures. creatures. How are they going to find their way out of this mess? And can Velma and the others find a solution to this global crisis? Well, if you want to find out all about this extensive comic series, I am more than ready to oblige. Just let me know in the comments below, and also tell me about your thoughts on this unique concept. If you appreciate the effort to bring you this content, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.